This is Throwbro, and this jump is impossible. Now obviously it wouldn't be in the game if it was truly impossible, but at first glance there's not a lot of options for a player to do here. First, I imagine you would try jumping across it, and when that doesn't work, jumping with a dash, which brings you close, but it's not enough to actually get you to the next platform. So then what? Well, that question is why we made the newest content update for Throwbro called the Green Files. You see, in the base game of Throwbro, we were looking for a, while difficult at times, simple and enjoyable platforming experience where you would only have to struggle if you were going out of your way to get all the collectibles. So this meant that throughout development, we would come up with certain ideas that, while engaging, didn't fit the core gameplay we were looking for, either because it didn't make sense in the game or, more commonly, that it was just too hard. For reference for the rest of the video, this is what I believe to be one of the most difficult platforming challenges in the base game of Throwbro. It's in the sewer level in the city world, and was designed with it being the most difficult in mind. Normally in Throwbro, you only get one dash per jump, but in the city world, we introduced this dash arrow mechanic, giving you a second dash you can use during your jump. So to get past this jump, the player has to jump, get to the dash arrow, and then there's a brief time window where the player can then dash to the left to get over this other bit of water. Now, some of you might see that and go, wow, that sounds like a really difficult challenge. But I'm sure others are probably thinking that this is baby platforming made for babies. Well, then the green files are for you. So then how do you get past this jump? Well, a mechanic that more experienced players would end up finding is the ability to momentum jump. Well, I don't really have a name for it, but it works like this. If you jump, dash, and then hold down, you'll slide across the ground at the speed of your dash. Now, this only lasts for a second before you start slowing down, but if you jump before that second is up, you'll keep your ground sliding speed while in the air, letting you to go even further than before, which, as you can imagine, would let you clear this gap. Though, even with the extra speed, it's designed to be about as far as you can jump. So it can still be a struggle timing it right to get through. And this whole jump is just the first obstacle of the green files. In fact, you have to do this again right after with an even smaller platform and several more times throughout. Now, if that looks easy, this is basically the tutorial for the rest of the levels. Coming right after that, you have a puzzle that has you trying to get this golf ball to the flagpole about 18 tiles up, while only being able to throw it horizontally, making it so you have to use these javelins to place it on and climb up. Now, before I go on, I don't want to spoil all the challenges, so if this looks interesting to you, go check out Throwbro on Steam, or if you already own it, look in the extras menu after completing the final boss. So the green files are broken up into 3 levels based on the different sections of the game, each one featuring the main mechanic of the area it's from. So, for example, the first one is based on the opening area in the cave world. So in this level, and I know about the name, you see mechanics from the first 2 worlds, like the mushrooms and javelins. Then in the second level, it features the beach and desert world, so things like crabs in these conveyor belts. Then in the final level, it's the city in the final world, which I won't talk about too much, just in case you haven't played the game. Focusing in on this first level, there's a lot of fun and difficult platforming, like jumping across these frogs or using these bears to climb, but I think my favorite part is we just decided to go crazy with these chainsaws. To be honest with you, this was just a matter of me throwing down as many as I could fit in the area and then replaying it and tweaking it until it was possible to do damageless. But it ended up being pretty chaotic because of it. As a side note, most of the green files was reusing mechanics from the previous levels, but there was one thing that I implemented that is exclusive to the green files. I noticed I didn't really like how it looked when you go from the grass tile set to the cave one with the regular background color. It just looked so weird to me because in both worlds, the background colors in the levels are fixed to work well with the tiles in front of them. So I ended up making a system that, when the player gets in the right area, fades the background color over to the other ones accurate to that level. It's a super simple system, like literally 3 lines of code, but I'm so glad I ended up doing it because I think it makes the whole level so much better. I also noticed something else I didn't really like during development. You. Well, okay, I don't really mean that. I mean, I assume you're already an epic plasma gamer, which is great. Oh, what's an epic plasma gamer, you ask? Only the most exciting thing you can legally do. All you gotta do is hit that subscribe button and you'll become part of one of the smallest communities on YouTube. Yeah, I feel like that's a selling point. Then you just gotta join the Discord and I'll forgive you. I'll forgive each and every one of you. But time is running out. In level 2 of the green files, yes, I know about the names, you immediately see the impossible jump again, but this time, the platform you have is so small that I honestly didn't think people were going to be able to beat it. But I did, so I moved on with development. There's a lot that happens in this level, but I wanted to shout out a few specific moments that I thought were really fun. The first one is this vertical spear climb. Now, I'm sure a lot of players saw this originally and had no idea what to do about it, and I probably wouldn't have either if it weren't for one of our beta testers, Nate the Carrot, who showed me this trying to get to a place in a totally different level. Originally, I was gonna patch this, but I thought it was so specific and goofy that I had to keep it. So now vertical spear jumping is a thing. As you can see, it's literally just throwing it into the wall, pressing jump, and right before you leave the spear's hitbox, blocks, you grab it out from under you just to throw it back into the wall. You have to do that a couple times to get up to this first platform, then a couple more times to get to the second, and then you finally make it to the top. Now, some will say that this is not intuitive and bad game design, but counter-argument, it's funny. Another standout moment in this level is these crab platforms. It's not all that difficult once you figure out the timing, but these platforms are so small that getting past these crabs can be a nightmare. They all have knockback, so getting hit doesn't just risk you taking damage, it also most likely will just push you off the platform. Then there's I'll be honest, I don't even really know how to introduce this, so here. This just showed up in my Unity project after my 11th Benadryl of the night, and I figured I'd leave it. It's the Gerald conveyor of... Oh, yeah, this guy's name is Gerald. The Gerald conveyor of malfeasance. I don't know, leave a name for it in the comments. Basically, you have to jump up this endless train of horribly mistreated Geralds while balancing and switching between them. It's a lot harder than it looks, and it's also just weirdly absurd, and probably my favorite part of the green files. There is a ton of other parts to these levels, and I'm not even going to talk about the final level of the world. Just know that one's crazy too. Making this was really fun to just be able to stretch my creative muscles and not worry about game progression or proper level design or blah blah blah. You know, it kind of just felt like making game ideas as a kid again. Like when you're just spitballing with a friend going, oh, and then what if we put a bunch of spikes here? Or what if we put all the Geralds in the conveyor belts and did something, and just not worrying about the rules of game design or what people might think of it. And it's been a while since I've been able to connect with that side of game dev. I think it's really easy to get caught up in making what's going to be good for other people or what most people will resonate with. And while I do think there's a time and a place for that in game dev, this was a great opportunity to make something for me, and I had a really great time doing it. And also to make the haters mad.